One of the biggest challenges that we all face now is time. When the web came along and digital technology started scaling, we suddenly felt that marketing or working online was a lot easier because you could automate a lot of the things that you did and market from one to many in a lot easier way. And suddenly this is no longer quite as true as it was. Now we need to actually spend quite a lot of time online. We need to actually begin to create a kind of presence which allows people to think and feel that we are real and there's a personality behind everything we do. And that is a real challenge. I totally get that. It's a challenge that is the same whether you're one person trying to work online or you have 38,000 people in your team trying to work globally. And if you have 38,000 people in your team, the challenge is even greater because those 38,000 people need to be able to project one voice, one identity, one way of working, and that becomes really difficult. So really, there's no shortcut that you can take here. It will take time. You need to find the level which you can comfortably work at. And then you've got to remember that it's for the long term. So it's not something which you can say, well, I'm going to blitz it for a couple of weeks and then I'm going to take a month off and then come back. No, you need to be able to sustain it. So find a way that actually works for you. One of the great disruptions that we face today is that online and offline have begun to fuse. Work and life have begun to fuse. So you can't just leave your work at home and then go off and do other things. It all becomes part of everything that you do. And the clever thing to do is to actually find a way to make this really work for you. Find a way to make your life part of your work part of your life. And this doesn't mean you're working all the time, but it does mean that you are being clever with the time you have in order to do something. This is a thing that money can't buy. It's how clever you are, how intelligent you are at solving this problem. And this can be solved by one individual better than perhaps a corporation.
Yeah, practical examples of your current work where you have implemented this new philosophy that you are talking about.
Okay. Actually, I could, and I give you, a lot of the stuff, I advise large companies, and the way they implement things is slow, and it takes time, and it's incremental. So it becomes very difficult to say, go there and say this. But I also experiment a lot on myself. And recently I wrote an article about how I dominated Google search. And if you go on google.com or google.co.uk and you put there semantic search book, on the first page of Google, out of 10 results, I think now I actually have 10 results which are mine on the first page. And I used to have 9. And I did this by working in a semantic search way. I didn't optimize my website. What I did basically is I used my social activity in order to generate the kind of awareness and conversation and sharing and resharing about what I do in a way that then produced a kind of result in search. And that's how I did it. So it was work because I have the same challenge. I work and then I write and then I have to be online as well. And how do I solve that? Well, I had to be clever with it. Every connection I made sure that I created sufficient value in order for them to actually talk about it. So that's a very practical example. If you had a business, what do you want to do? Let's say you get one customer in. That one customer, if their experience is exceptional, that one customer didn't just give you some money for something, because that only happens once. And you have to make it happen again and again and again. And if you work just as hard all the time, then really you're losing. So work should become easier. So what should one customer do? He should have such a fantastic experience at dealing with you that they go out and they tell the world about it. And then suddenly you get 2 more customers or 3 more customers. And those customers you didn't have to work for. They were an easy win. And It never used to work in the past, right? In the past, if you had a website, the guys with the bigger teams and the deeper pockets would always win, regardless of how passionate you are. But now it's actually working. This is why I get so excited about it. I hate a world where a large economy, call it UK, call it US, call it whatever, can actually dominate the global stage and push everybody else out. That's not a very good world. But it was the reality we had. And now we get a world where it doesn't matter where you are. If you're doing something really, really good, you're going to win regardless. And that's the kind of world we all love to be in. And for the first time ever, we can actually see, it's not there yet, but we can see the steps that will get us there. And that's really exciting. That's really life-changing for all of us.